By the way, speaking of voting and everything, what would you do for a Klondike bar?
Like, would I get into a fight over a Klondike bar?
Yeah, what are your limits? What would you do for a Klondike? You remember that commercial, right?
Oh, yeah. What do you do for a Klondike bar?
Klondike bar.
Yeah, yeah. What are my limits?
How far would you go?
How far would I go?
Who would you make disappear?
I'm gonna rule out murder. I think that's too extreme for a Klondike bar.
Okay, fine.
Um, if I'm in an altered state and
hmm
someone offers to like wrestle me for a Klondike bar, I'd wrestle. Like
Okay, okay.
like if someone's like, "Hey, there's only one left, and I'll wrestle you for it." I'm like, "Yeah, no, let's do that." Yeah, I'd lose because my now not very young body doesn't work that way anymore. But I'd do it. It'd be a
Yeah.
really funny story. I wrestled someone for a Klondike once, and then you walk away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 1000 Crazy Questions, the podcast. I'm your currently St. host, Houston Pierce. This is a podcast where I have at least one guest a week and ask them a series of crazy would you rather questions. We get into the psyche of our guests and explore topics and questions that maybe shouldn't have been explored. I take my questions from you, the listener, from a list of 1,000 questions. You can submit question suggestions at me at 1kcrazyquestions@gmail.com or at 1000 Crazy Questions on Instagram. That's 1000 on Instagram. I'm also on X, but you know what? Forget X. X sucks now, and I don't even know why I have that there. I should probably get rid of that. I don't even promote X. Why do I care about that? And please rate and follow 1000 Crazy Questions on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, and all those places you find podcasts. And that's the intro. It's out of the way. Let's get into the episode this week. He's full-on musician, full-on podcaster, and full-on nerd, apparently, Mr. Michael Destroy. Dang it, Destoy. I messed it up and I wrote it phonetically for myself. How'd I do that? And I said, Miguel. Oh my God. You want to introduce yourself to the listeners?
For sure.
I
Just
butchered
like,
that, man.
no, you're good. But funnily enough, my brother, since we were kids, for some reason, is the only person in my family that calls me Michael. So it didn't throw me off because every once in a while, Michael and Miguel, it's just same thing, different languages. Yeah. Yeah. My name is Michael Landestoy. I'm a jazz musician, podcaster, lover of all things nerdy. My podcasts are the BIPOC Artist Hour, which is a show where I interview artists, obviously artists of color, about their journey, but also focusing on what brings them joy, because we always talk about the struggle, but we never talk about the joy. And then Play Black, which is my weekly show where we break down all things nerdy from the perspective of two artists of color, me and my co-host Jay.
Nice. This is, I don't want to date the podcast, but I guess I'm dating it. Wolverine Deadpool just came out, or
Yep.
Deadpool Wolverine just came out. Have you seen it yet?
I'm literally seeing it right after this. That's why I asked you how long this is going to be.
Oh, whoa. I will not
uh,
freaking hold you, man. I just saw it last night. Yeah.
was it, how'd you feel about it?
Oh, it was fun. It's definitely a fun time. I'm definitely not gonna get any spoilers here. It's not a perfect movie because
No.
movies in general, I love movies, so I can see the flaws within it, but it's for sure like it in vibe world, in a vibe
Yeah,
rating.
just straight vibes.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's absolutely it's every bit as cool as it looks. Yeah.
That's a good, great endorsement. Cool as it looks pretty damn cool. So, no, I'm excited about it. We're gonna do an instant take afterwards. So it's a podcasting day. That's what we're doing today.
Cool. Hey, listeners, here are the rules of the podcast. There are two rules to this game/conversation. Rule number one, you must always answer the question no matter what. If you have no preference towards one or the other, you say the phrase flip a coin, meaning that each choice is 50-50 to you and that one is neither worse or better than the other. But that rarely happens, so it may not get used. Rule number two, whoever asks the question doesn't have to answer it if they choose not to. These rules exist because as the questions become harder to answer, the rules become harder to follow. This week, we have a Blue Band. Oh, actually, yeah, kind of a Blue Band episode. It may be purple, depending on how things go. Blue meaning like tame, red meaning a bit more raunchy, and we're gonna see how this one goes. I think this one's kind of blue, and yeah, just telling you listeners out there, if you want to go find a more tame episode or a raunchier one, there I labeled them blue and red in the feed, and you can go separate them out however you want to. Quick but important disclaimer to the listeners: everything is hypothetical. If you're offended by this episode, at me. Probably won't answer you, but you can do it. And, I say it every week, but it's true. Lastly, before we begin, Miguel, is there anything you'd like to ask or declare? Are there any inherent as mental biases you know you may have?
Um, I definitely see things from my own perspective. Person of color, fairly liberal cat. I wouldn't necessarily call myself a Democrat because they don't always do stuff for us. If that gives you any leaning on where I kind of lean, but definitely not anywhere near the right. Politically, other than that, like pro LGBTQ person, have a partner part of the LGBTQ community, even though I don't identify within that community myself. Trying to think what controversial takes I might have. I don't know. I think we should just get into it. So hit me with
Yeah,
these questions, bro. I keep on hearing these 1,000 questions. What are these questions?
we've just begun. But I want to say I like your disclaimer. Some people don't know what to do with that part. And it's like, interesting, interesting. Yeah. I'm working from a central point of like a moderate, I guess. I don't know. So it's all it's all fun to me. I've heard a lot of different takes from a lot of different people. Uh,
I'm sure.
First question. Would you rather have a Green Lantern ring or control over the elements like Avatar?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go Avatar on that one.
Okay.
I think the Green Lantern ring has its limits as far as like what. That's not true. I think the limitations of
Person.
the elements
Oh,
are more enticing to me. And it feels like I would be in a lot more of like in a flow state versus the Green Lantern. I don't know. Green Lanterns just kind of feel like cops to me. I do love John Stewart
oh
as
God,
Green Lantern.
yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
It's the best.
But the further I zoom out, I just get like international or sorry, interspace travel
Yeah,
a cop, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but
yeah.
um, definitely not necessarily my vibe. Definitely more Avatar.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, let's just say though, you have the ring. You don't have to do the cop stuff. Like
True.
you're getting the
Ah,
ring.
okay.
And in this, it's not like you're joining the world of whatever you are. This is you being granted the ring. This is you being given
Mm,
powers. So
mm.
you're the only superpowered being to our own knowledge right
Ooh,
now in this. This is the regular world. You're just given these two powers.
I see. Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean the oh, who's the Green Lantern? Who's an artist? Is it Kyle Rayner?
Yes, sir.
I was in a group with a bunch of other nerds, and my kind of like code name was Kyle Rayner because I was the one person in that group that was an artist. And I always like the aspect of Green Lantern that like it's up to the limitations of the mind of the user.
Yeah.
Hence why Hal Jordan just makes big fists and like
Yeah.
and rockets and okay, sure, let's get a little bit more offensive. You get to John Stewart, he's an architect. Okay,
Mm,
now we're getting into
a little
really
bit
interesting
better.
things, and Rayner like gets out there and does some wacky shit because. Sorry, can I curse on here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What do
Just
you think, man?
um, he gets into some crazy shit because that's how an artist mind works. So in that case, I might head towards the Green Lantern ring. No, no specific limitations besides what's in your mind. That's a very growth mindset thing. I like that a lot, actually.
Nice, nice. Um, Honestly, I can't attack any of those. Those are all good. This is a win-win, first off. So it's all good.
Right.
That doesn't happen a lot. Disclaimer. But I pick Avatar, I think. I just in terms of daily use, it's the green is a bit heavy on the eyes, you know? That's me personally. Just using that in every day, it's like even in broad daylight, that the bright lime popsicle green comes out and you make like a car. It's like what the Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds showed us how weird that looks. I mean,
Yeah,
that movie was
that's true.
trash. And maybe that's not fair,
That's true.
but I'm just in reality, like it's an awesome power, but
But
it doesn't look, it's a little flashy in the wrong way. I think so. I
yeah,
picked the Avatar one. It's just, I wouldn't walk ever. I would just have the ground move me. I'd be the laziest person. I'd mess up roadways. They'd hate me. Um,
yeah. No.
I wouldn't use fire that much. I think that's a bit destructive, but it's a cool like trick. And I wouldn't swim ever. I just,
Yeah, right.
Sacrilegious
Straight
to
up.
say I would walk on the water just to
Yeah, like
mess with
straight
people.
ice
Yeah,
feet. Like let's
yeah,
like
yeah,
just start,
yeah.
you know, like start your own 1,000 questions cult, you know, like
Ooh,
people will be like, that's I think that's the second coming of
yeah,
Jesus, you know, like
yeah. How did you guess my plan?
just
No,
similar minds, I guess.
yeah, no, it would be fun. It would be fun. That's what I would do. Next question. Would you rather be able to throw up,
Oh,
sorry,
oh,
be able to throw up babies and they biologically are yours, or wake up
or
in a different person's body somewhere in the world every single day?
oh, well, that's terrifying. So
Hmm.
your the ability to do so doesn't mean you have to vomit this hypothetical baby,
Yeah, but
right?
let's say if you do throw up, because I gotta make this a bit more problematic. If
Okay.
you accidentally throw up, then yes, it's an ability. But if someone makes you throw up or something makes you throw up for whatever reason, baby's coming out.
But the other version, like you don't have a life. Like you are a different person every single day.
Yeah, you
Like
have tons of lives actually.
well, you have tons of okay.
Not a consistent one. You're like a
Now,
nomad of a person,
right.
spiritually, I guess.
I don't throw up very much. I have pretty
Hmm.
good control over it,
Hmm.
and I like the idea of living a singular, like this is me. I have trouble figuring out who I am in the first place. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to constantly be in other people's bodies. So again, I don't remember the last time I got sick. So controversially, I think I'm gonna have to go hypothetical throw up baby. Like
Got it. A strong choice. Got it. Bold. Uh, uh,
they're biologically mine. Like I don't
yeah,
you did
yeah,
like
they're yours. Let's. I, and I think upon like saying this out loud, I'm like, huh, maybe this one's a little unbalanced. It happens sometimes. I want to tweak this. So
okay,
hang with
okay.
me here. Let's say you have the ability to wake up in someone else's body. Like,
Mm,
you can wake up in anyone's body you choose. This is an ability thing. Are you still
hmm.
going with the babies?
Uh that seems very sinister. Right? Like
Hmm.
like it's one thing if you can't stop it from happening, it's like, okay, well, this is inadvertent. Like it's not like, but like I wake up and I'm like, I am gonna wake up as that person. That
Hmm.
seems like straight violation. Like, you know, like very much like
Yeah,
a crossing a huge line.
yeah,
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
yeah,
It's kind of like
yeah.
Bran taking over Hodor's brain, Hodor being like, I don't want to
Oh,
in here. You dig? Like,
yeah.
so yeah, I'm still controversially
Hmm.
gonna head
Hmm.
towards the baby question.
Gotcha. Huh. Okay. But
You
the
you
baby one, huh?
you don't like that answer.
It's it's a weird one. I don't know because it's just the concept of throwing up a baby. They're both morally weird. I mean, the second one is very like reprehensible and like
Hmm.
you're violating someone else's personal space, their
Right,
mind. That's
right.
very private. And but the other one is you're a single parent automatically, and you can have an unlimited amount of children
Right.
by yourself, and you're cool with it. But I mean, I know I don't throw up a lot either, for the record.
For sure.
Yeah, I have a pretty strong constitution. I haven't thrown up in years. I don't even remember. I think I was,
Right.
yeah, like years. So yeah, this doesn't scare me that much, but I know it still could happen. The fact that if I
True.
knew I could
That is
throw
true.
it, if I threw up and there was a baby, I'd be terrified of that fact to the point
Oh
where
yeah.
every time I had a stomach ache, I'd be freaking out of, I can't throw up, guys. I can't, like,
Hmm.
I would avoid everything possible.
We broke down the ethics of the first one.
Mm,
Sorry, of the ability to take over people's bodies.
mm,
Okay, there is an ethical issue with this baby one, right? So let's
mm,
say I'm a feeble old man in my 90s. I'm sick.
mm.
I
Oh,
throw up. Suddenly, there's a child in the world that didn't want to probably didn't I didn't want them to be there.
uh,
And now you can't raise this child because you're on death's door. And if you lose control, so Oof, this is hard. This is hard.
Hopefully you had previous throw-up babies who are old enough to raise that one throw-up baby, and like they're all siblings. Like they can,
You have to have one every 18 years just to make sure that they can support each other through the throw
Mhm.
baby life.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
No.
the beauty of this is you can keep trying. Like if there's one that's like this one's a burnout loser. I mean, well, I love it, but it's not doing anything with his life. It's like you throw up
Jesus.
another baby.
Okay.
Like it's faster than giving birth the regular way. You have to wait for you need like a woman here and you got to do this and then they have to
Mm.
grow it for 9 months. Like, it's a hassle. Throwing up
That's
is
that's a way to describe it. No, yeah, you could
yeah,
make yourself throw up if you
yeah. If
need
you really
it.
needed to, like I need a person right now. I got it.
Oh,
Never mind. That's a moral.
yeah. The morals on this are gray at best.
Oh, last point. I'm sorry. Have you
Yeah,
heard A Modest Proposal? Have you read the short story A Modest Proposal?
I haven't.
Okay, it's written to a bunch of electorals, like not electoral, like a bunch of elites
Mhm.
by like this writer, and it was for this town that was going through like a really impoverished time. There was like a drought or something, and no one was eating. And he wrote a proposal called the Moss Proposal, where
Mhm.
he said, "We'll take one woman's baby." And like we'll have a lottery system and we'll kill and eat that woman's baby and then we'll raise up the next ones and then like that each woman will have to give up one baby once every week or whatever, and we can eat that baby to sustain the town, and we'll keep our population, we'll feed ourselves. It's a Ma's proposal, and this was like a satirical jab at the elites of like how they were solving problems with taxes and everything. Like apparently, like it was just like
Okay.
it was
Yeah,
not
yeah,
meant
yeah.
to be taken seriously. It's like a
Right.
famous short story piece. But anyway, that kind of reminds me of this with like in a dark way. This is messed up. And in a dark way, if you wanted to, needed to, and you had no food and you could throw up babies,
You brought it there. You brought it there. No, yeah. The uh, post-apocalyptic scenarios write themselves.
yeah.
Uh, I was just watching clips of the Last of Us. Did you watch The Last of Us?
Yeah, yeah, the show
The
or the
show.
game. I played both. I didn't
Um,
finish two though. I quit halfway between two for obvious reasons. People who play that game know
I
why I
haven't.
quit halfway through.
I
Uh,
haven't. I've never owned a PlayStation system. I've always been like a Nintendo person, so I haven't
okay.
gotten to play it.
Hmm.
But I did watch the first season, and just the latest example of cannibals post-apocalypse period, right? Not great. Not it's not a great scenario. I think my
Yeah.
final answer on this question, after
Okay.
we've broken down all the ethics,
Yes.
it's the ability to change into people. And I'll tell you why.
Oh, okay, okay.
All because I have that ability doesn't mean I have to use it. There it
Yeah,
is.
you win. You win. There it
There
is.
it is.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you live your normal life. Yeah. And then, you have a dark day and you want to turn into a famous politician and change some laws. Why not? But, you live your normal life. You live
Right?
your normal, yeah.
Become a secretary of education, just, take down all those loans, get out.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. Tweak it now and then. Just bump the system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of bumping the system, what instrument, if it were a person, would you vote for president?
What instrument? Like musical instrument?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm literally a jazz pianist.
Hmm.
I don't know if you know, like most instruments have like a stereotypical person that plays them. If you're
Hmm.
like in that community, like for
Hmm.
example, piano players, we tend to wear glasses. We tend to be in the background. We tend not to be very confrontational because what we do, we spend most of our lives in a room by ourselves practicing, right? A very uh, uh, kind of recipe for a nerd.
Yeah.
Um,
True of all musicians, kind of. I mean, maybe except for
yes,
guitar. Guitars are you can practice guitar anywhere. Those are the show
tr
offs, if
true.
anything.
Then you got like, brass instruments, woodwind instruments, saxophones, trumpets,
Yeah,
what
I'm
have
I'm a
you.
brass guy over here for the record.
Very cool.
Yeah, I played that in high school, and I was in jazz band too.
Very
Yeah,
cool. Did you know any really kind of trumpet players who could play really, really high notes and play really, really fast?
yeah,
Were those guys assholes?
a little bit, a little
Yeah.
bit.
See,
Not
there's the stereotype.
Yeah, comparatively, not as much as like the other like regular assholes in life. I'm just saying, but like
For sure.
within
Right.
the our musical band group. Yeah, a little bit. They could be. Yeah.
Yeah, they could be, right? And then the stereotype on saxophone players is it's a fairly easy instrument to learn, hard to master, but easy to learn.
Mm,
So there's a lot of folks who can play really fast on the saxophone that don't actually know what they're doing, but they think they're like the shit. They think they are like everything.
mhm.
But I'm gonna surprise you with this answer. I think I pick a bass player. Um,
Okay.
Bass players, calm, cool, collected, good in the crisis. They are
Mhm.
just like the foundation of everything. They bring the rhythm. They bring the foundation of all the harmony. You want a bass player in office, for sure.
Okay. Okay. I see your bass player and I'll raise you a drummer. I think bass players
Mm,
may be good as like maybe a vice president. But
mm,
drummers keep the beat of every, they are the heart, and they're a bit more bombastic. At least the ones I know, like their personalities are a little bit bigger than basses.
mm,
And I think with a nation that, you need someone catchy, you need someone who can drive a crowd, you need a
yeah.
regardless how you feel about him, you need a Trump-like guy who people rally behind because he has a lot of catchphrases and people love him. So you
You need
need
charisma.
someone.
You need charisma. Yeah.
There it is. There's the word. Yeah, you need
Mm,
charisma. And a bass player, at least the ones I'm thinking of, stereotypically don't have a lot of charisma. They have a lot of
mm,
cool. They have a lot of respect, and they do.
mm,
They definitely drive the band. But so does the drum. So does the drummer. The drummer
mm,
just typically has more of charisma. They have more of an attitude on them, and they still move the band. They control the tempo.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my musical experiences, I found that while yes, of course, the drummer, it's the loudest instrument, and it's going to make a lot of differences when it comes to time. The worst thing ever is when a drummer and a bass player aren't in sync, because then everything gets really out of the way.
Mm,
Personally, if I'm gonna play without an instrument, like in an ensemble, say like a quartet or a trio,
mm,
the drummer is the first thing to go because
mm,
time isn't something you always have to rely on a drummer for. Everyone is responsible for time, right?
mhm.
So
That's
in
true.
that case, I still sit on the bass player. I hear your point on charisma though. Um, Follow-up question.
Mm.
Is the Are we picking someone to run or are we picking someone to be the president?
Be
Are they going to campaign? Like do we need them to like win a campaign or do we need them to just be installed as president and rule? Because I might go
yeah.
with you on the drummer if we need someone to actually like run because you need someone with that charisma, you need someone with that grace. But like
Mhm,
if you need someone installed, I'm still going
mhm.
bass player.
That's a good distinction. And I did said B. So
Okay.
that's, yeah, that's a good point. But the way this question took its turn was interesting because I think writing this, I was like, what instrument? Like, at what instrument turned person? So I like I like the path this took, but if we were taking out the people and we were voting
Mm,
on the actual instrument and the personality an instrument has, like the
mm,
piano as a person or
mm.
the tuba as a person, and saying, well, which one of these people, instrument turned as people, Beauty and the Beast style, is fit for presidential election? Because instruments have personalities of their own, the actual
100%.
instruments. The French
100%.
horn is kind of it's a classier, not classier, but kind of a more friendlier version, I'll say, of the trumpet. The tuba
Mm.
is like a big guy who is like, "Eh," is everywhere. Like I don't know, oh, what sound that was for people listening. That's gonna be funny. But the clarinet. When I say clarinet, everyone has an automatic image of what a clarinet
Yeah.
personality is,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
and you can even say freaking glockenspiel, you can say the
Oh.
kazoo. We're gonna count all of these. What what instrument would you install as president if you're installing the instrument? I love your answer, by the way,
The
for the first.
instrument.
I'm just saying, but yeah,
No, no,
like
for
just
sure,
picking
for
this.
sure.
Yeah.
The instrument. I'm gonna be biased. I think it'll have to be the piano. It's the most versatile.
Okay. Okay.
Right? It has 88
Mm,
keys. It can play bass lines. It can play melodies. It's just responsible for rhythm. It's both a percussive instrument and a string instrument. So it has all these different elements. It's also not very movable, stable. So
mhm.
it's a very again I didn't mention that in my biases before.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, there's a reason I play the piano. If there were going to be another instrument that I was a professional on, it'd be the bass. Because for
You would have put
all the
yourself
reasons that
twice. Oh my God. You would have put yourself twice.
VP and president, what's up, son? Like, let's go.
Just drop
But
that
I
bomb.
know
Yeah.
I don't actually play the bass. I would like to learn how to play the bass, but I
All
do
right.
play a bunch of other instruments, just like every other musician.
Cool, cool, cool. That's funny. Yeah. No, and cool answer. I agree. The piano, I love the piano apps. I play it, or I've played it for 7 years back in as a kid, and I still can play, but my hands won't work together. Like my left and right will not
Mm.
get along. I lost that ability when I stopped practicing, but I still have a great respect for it and love it. And because of piano, you're able to kind of look at other sheet music and be like, oh, I know what that is. It's the best starting instrument. It's the keys are laid out for you.
Hmm.
Whereas with the trumpet, which I know maybe the best, it's like it's all kind of in your head of where things
Yep.
are. So yeah, I love piano for that reason. Now again, argue it's strong answers. You got my vote. All right.
2024, let's go.
By the way, speaking of voting and everything, what would you do for a Klondike bar? And like, how far would you go?
Like, would I get into a fight over a Klondike bar?
Yeah, what are your limits? What would you do for a Klondike? You remember that commercial, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
What do you
Like,
do for a
for a
Klondike bar?
Klondike bar,
Yeah, yeah. What are my limits?
how far would you go?
How far would I go?
Who would you make disappear?
I'm gonna rule out murder. I think that's too extreme for a Klondike bar.
Okay, fine.
Um, okay. If I'm in an altered state and
Hmm.
someone offers to like wrestle me for a Klondike bar, I'd wrestle. You know, like
Okay, okay.
like if someone was like, "Hey, there's only one left, and we're both in some form of inebriated. I'll wrestle you for it." I'm like, "Yeah, no, let's do that." Yeah, I'd lose because my now not very young body uh, doesn't work that way anymore. But I'd do it. It'd be fun. It'd be a funny story. That's the fun part about it. It'd be a really
Yeah.
funny story. I wrestled someone for Klondike once, and then you walk away.
No, that's a great story too. You're on the ground, like you just tapped out after like what 5 minutes of
Yeah.
sweaty rolling, and you're just like and someone just throws a Quantic on the floor in front of you. It's just like a dirty like phew, and you're like worth it. And worth it.
It reminds me of that what Dave Chappelle show
Mm,
Prince sketch with Charlie Murphy.
mm.
Game blouses. It's like
Oh, I don't think I know this sketch actually.
no. Oh,
Yeah.
it's a really great sketch. Basically, Charlie Murphy challenged Prince to a basketball game and lost because Prince can ball.
Whoa.
Is the whole premise of the sketch.
Uh-huh.
And then Prince in all of his like crazy regalia is like hanging off the rim and he goes game. And it was shirts against blouses. There was a joke.
Yeah.
It goes
Oh wow.
game blouses and it's like a perfect moment. So yes,
Yeah.
game Klondike bar for me.
That's
Perfect.
that sounds hilarious. That sounds dope. I gotta look that up after this. All right. I'm gonna get choice right now. Do you want music question, nerd question? You pick.
We've had a couple of nerdy ones. Let's do a music one.
Okay. Would you rather get rid of all musicals,
Mm.
period, or get rid of all animation movies?
Oh, musicals.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, I I I don't dislike. I'm huge into animation. I love animation. Period.
Mhm.
Um, uh, I like musicals for a period of time. And I still like will like take them in every once in a while when if I'm invited or there's something that everyone's like, you should see this, et cetera, et cetera. Are they essential to me? No. Um, and you can get all the different parts of musical outside of just having a musical.
Mhm.
Animation, beautiful animation, Ghibli level animation. I think we'd all like miss out on that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the world animation is it's a little too big to kill or to cut. Like
Yeah.
I can't imagine a world without it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would be personally devastated. I don't think I'd be the same person.
Yeah.
Um, I have turned out to be without animation. So
Yeah.
yeah, no,
But,
not a hard
personal
choice.
Yeah, I gotcha. But yeah, no, I'd agree too. Personal question, what's your favorite musical, if you have one?
Um, probably In the Heights. Yeah. In the
Hmm.
Heights, I got to see that on Broadway when Lynn was in it. Um,
Whoa.
Unfortunately, Lynn wasn't playing um the main character Usnavi.
Yeah,
He wasn't playing Usnavi that day, but I got to
yeah,
see it while those original dancers and those original people were in it on like a
yeah,
school trip. And the main character is Dominican. I'm Dominican.
yeah,
The music is, yes, musical, but it's like a musical, but it's also like very much salsa and bolero and like all this stuff I grew up with.
yeah.
So it was the first time I saw, kind of saw myself on stage, in that way. So yeah, In the Heights for sure.
Nice. No, that's a great moment. Yeah. Yeah. But personally, I don't care for musicals really that much, but I like them. Like when they ones come across that hit me, they hit me. There's something that music, they're not normal. Like they're not
Hmm.
not
No.
normal. They're they exist in their own realm from movies
Yes.
distinctly, like plays. They're just not people breaking into song is just not normal. It breaks the fifth
Yeah.
wall. Like you just like
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
very and yeah,
Right.
it
Yeah.
it, it invokes emotion and invites you to get invested into the movie in a different way that you watching something is just not gonna do. So yeah, respect them for where they are. Not the biggest fan of them, but yeah, I get that.
Do you have a musical you hate the least?
Uh hate the least. Interesting.
Like you'll tolerate it. Not like
Mm,
not that you actively like it, but you tolerate
most things Disney.
it.
Most
Just period. Yeah. Okay.
like I think guilty pleasure is Disney because like a lot of those are musicals. Like
True.
Tangled is a musical, Beauty and the Beast is kind of musical, Cinderella is a musical. So it feels like a song 'cause it's animation, but they're singing. That's not
True.
normal, and
No,
everyone
true.
joins in. Oh, okay. You know what? High School Musical. There it is. There's your answer. There it is. High
Uh,
School. Because
uh,
you know why too? You know why? Don't hate me because the first one came out, the first and second in particular came out when I was a kid, and I did not like them, but they were on all
mm,
the time on Disney Channel, and my older sister liked them, and so
or
God, what time is it? Summertime. All the just seared
it's
into my
in there.
brain.
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah,
someone
yeah.
says what time is it, my mind goes summertime. Like it just it happens. Get your head in the game. Gotta get you. I'm not even gonna stop. I know I messed up someone's. I know people. I know I'm not the only one who's carrying around that musical burden in my head with like I can't really tolerate it. Maybe I hate it's like a love hate thing because
I
it's
see.
it's it, it's in there too far for me to hate it. It's really in
Right,
my
right, right.
it's oh man. Yeah. Okay. This one is gonna go a bit deeper into deepness and we're gonna get serious. Share as much as you want to this, or we'll go as deep as you want to with this one, or you
Sure.
can give a yes or no answer. The N word.
Mm.
Should we use it, yes or no? You could just
Uh,
say nah. You could just say sure, and we'll move.
uh, yes. I
Oh,
think it.
okay.
I think it should be a personal choice.
Okay.
Like I would never want to take that away from any person of color who wants to use that. Any person who has any ownership over that word that wants to use it. So I wouldn't take it away from them to do so if they felt the need to use it.
Mhm.
Um, uh, I don't think certain people should use it. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't think white folks should use it, just because of the different connotations. And like I understand the arguments around like you police words for one people but not for another. I just think it has so much weight and baggage when used by someone that isn't black, that like what message are you sending? Do you know what message you're sending? Basically, that you're just like an unsafe person to be around, if you're a person of color, or in my opinion, obviously. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna not limit it for all folks, but I think it should be a personal choice.
Yeah. If we, as a as a black person or dark person of color, like
Mm,
should we use it for, when I say we, I mean black people. Like, should
mm.
we use it?
Should
Because,
we use
like
it?
should we use it? Because, there's this all there. I think there's two sides of the fence with like, yeah, we can use it. It strengthens a bond. It's cultural. It's like, we
Mm,
know what we mean when we say it. The other
yeah.
end's like, no, the history is too bad. And if we keep saying it, we're
Hmm.
going to tell other people it's okay to say it. Let's cut it off completely, which
Hmm.
is impossible. But
Totally.
let's
Yeah.
say, let's say that is possible for everyone to kind of agree we're not going to use it. Like, let's say you have the power. Let's say you have a button in front of you,
Mm.
and if you pushed it, you can stop all black
Hmm.
people. Let's say just black. Let's say black people.
Straight, yeah, straight black
Yeah,
people. Yeah.
from using it again. Just like no, yes. Because if we set the standard of we're not going to use this anymore, then we
Hmm.
really could enforce the no one use it, and then it'll be because right now it's kind of a don't say it, but
Hmm.
people still kind of say it. People like neighboring races. I think like you have your Mexican people, you're
Hmm.
not really Asian people, but
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
Indian people. You have different people who kind of dip into it and use it. And there's
Sure.
some like white people too, who like grew up in black neighborhoods who use it, and they kind of have card too because that's where they grew up in. It's like it gets into classism and money also, but
Yep.
this is very not a cleanly cut issue or even question. But
Yeah.
let's say magic button here.
Mm.
You can stop us being black people from saying it permanently or continue us saying it culturally to one another and keep the
Mm.
brotherly hate love alive.
Mm. That's a good question. I have faith that the overall goal is to not limit other people's options.
Okay.
It has become part of our culture. It
Mhm.
has become something that we use colloquially in different situations that can mean a bunch of different things. And would another word come around that we could use in that way? Probably. I don't know, right? Like
It wouldn't be as hard. I don't know. It's a pretty fun. I don't want to say
right?
fun, but it's a versatile word.
It's a
It's
right.
it's it's
Like
great.
it's
It comes off the tongue easy. It rhymes easy. Sorry, just
right. No, and like it shows different levels of the person. Like I use it in very specific situations in very specific people, and it's something that opens up a bunch of like, this is what I'm really thinking right now, and that's
mhm.
really important. And I don't know if we could get that with another word. So I'm not gonna limit people's options. I'm gonna say no.
Oh, what? Even if that means that the rest of the world will most likely still say it in their cars alone when no one they think no one's listening. Or or say it rashly in a negative way to a person of color.
The,
Or
well,
when a
well, the,
neighboring race who's not white says it also, and it's like,
mm,
what happens here? What?
right, right. Well, the question was for us black people, right?
Yes.
So I'm not over here policing what these other folks do. If
Hmm.
you say something, you should reap those consequences.
Hmm.
Period. If it's positive or negative, right? I'd rather know who those people are
Hmm.
instead of them just being kind of like under the cuff, just like racist. You dig? Like I'd rather like really know, like, oh, you think like I only eat chicken and water? Okay, all right, well, sure. I know that. Now I know
Hmm.
to avoid you or figure out what's going on with you in a way that can
Yeah, yeah.
thing versus just like you can't say it. Now I don't know if you think I am a person or not. You dig? Like I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm probably always going to err on the side of like not taking people's options away. If that leans any of your further questions going, because like that's kind of how I roll.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you for rolling with me through that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it, man. This is great.
Yeah. I threw a
I'm
punch at you with
loving
that
the
one.
show.
Speaking speaking of saying nigga, what is music? What is art in your opinion?
A question. What is art? Um,
Yep. What is music and what is art?
what
I
is
say,
music and
so I
what is
guess
art?
first part, what is music? Second part to that tertiary question, what is art?
Music is a intentional collection of sounds.
Hmm,
Period.
okay.
Um, I have heard and seen music that a lot of people would consider noise. Do I think that's not music because some people would consider it noise? No, because the people that made it were intentional about how they were making it. So an intentional collection of sounds is probably my final answer on that one.
Nice.
Art. Um, uh, any form of
Mhm.
intentional self-expression.
Hmm.
Um, because we call people call podcasting art. People call um, movies art. People call visual painting, drawing, etc. art. Like music is an art, like
Hmm.
so I think I would say any um, form of intentional self-expression.
Hmm. Okay. Not necessarily self-expression, by the way. Do you mean like just like in expression? Because let's say someone paints a canvas of how they see America.
Mhm.
And like it's I guess it's self-expression because you're doing it's that person's
Mhm.
viewpoint, but they are trying to make it for a lot of people. Like they're trying to, I don't know,
Mhm.
encapsulate a lot of people. Do you think that is that still self-expression? I guess can
For
art
the
is art only self-expression? What if a lot of people work on a piece like an
No,
art?
that's a good point. Like if you're in a group of musicians who are improvising, for example, I wouldn't say that anyone that whole thing is one person's self-expression. That's a good point. I would say that everyone in that group is expressing themselves, and there is a collective that comes out of that. So what is art? What is art? Intention is something that I'm not going to move on. It has to have intention.
Okay.
Um, and if it's not always self-expression, expression is definitely in there. Um, so any intentional expression, I guess, is the broadest uh term. Um,
Mhm.
Again, some people say would call public speaking an art, something that we all can do. Like literally something
Yeah,
that
sort of.
99% of people can do in some form. So I'll strip it back even more. Some people would say any form of communication. Someone would describe communication as
Yeah.
as an art, right? So
Yeah. That's not to interrupt you. That's where I have a bone to pick with art because
oh,
it seems it seems like everything can be considered art. And when everything can be fit under an umbrella, is it even a thing? You know, like I think it's like the limitations. I like intentional being
mhm,
like a thing it has to be. I think that maybe the only limitation possibly that art has because everything else is so subjective. It passes form, it passes media, it
mhm,
passes and sometimes even intentionality. Someone could sneeze on a canvas not intentionally, and then someone else will praise it as art because it's someone's opinion. But that person has the intention of making something art or calling something art. So I don't even know if it's intentional really. That's the best border I've
yeah.
heard so far, I think. But I can't. I have I think art exists kind of, but I don't think it really does. Like
So um, you, it sounds to me like you think the term art is too broad. Like
yes.
not like, but you know that something subsidiary of art exists because you know that music exists, you know that
Yeah.
paintings exist, but like the that term can be applied to everything, so it therefore isn't anything. Is that what I'm
Yes,
hearing?
that's what it's exactly. Yeah, if food is art and movie and art is art and speaking is art and toys can be art and posters are art and desks can be art and
Mhm.
even the way the sky looks today, which you had no control over, is
Mhm.
art. You know, it's like if literally everything
Ooh.
fits into this box,
Mm.
what what is this
Can,
thing? Yeah,
but that sky example is
sure.
interesting, right?
Mhm.
I wouldn't consider how the sky looks today art.
Okay, okay. But if someone
because
took a
they're
photo of the sky though and said and put it on their like that,
oh,
I'm
okay.
saying
Well,
that's what I meant. Sorry, it's like
but no, but that person,
mhm,
what did they do? They intentionally put up a camera,
yeah,
pointed it, focused it, did whatever they needed to do. If it's a film camera, they clicked it, they went and developed it.
hmm
Uh, maybe it's a black and white photo. You know, like
hmm
that person who took the photo had intention,
hmm
but like just looking at the sky, that's not art. It's beautiful and it's gorgeous, and you can apply all these adjectives to it.
hmm
But I think that's why my line is intention. Because like I've met a
yeah,
lot of people who make music that people would maybe categorize as noise.
hmm
And it's there are people who are playing at intention and people that are actually intentional about what they're doing. The people that are just like doing it because they think that this is what it is, they're trying to make art. I don't think they're making art. But those people that are making that noise music that are like, I am trying to express this very specific thing, even if you're not getting it, the intention is the point.
yeah. No, I like that answer. I like your answer. Yeah. Dang, man, mic drop, honestly. That I actually I take something from that because art needs intention. I like that. I like that viewpoint. It gives a wall at least to bounce that off of. Yeah.
These are great questions,
Yeah.
bro. I appreciate this.
Thank you. This is the last one. We're at the final question.
Dun,
And
dun, dun.
yeah, would you rather, classical, would you rather have, do you know One Punch Man?
I do.
Have One Punch Man level strength in everything,
Oh.
or see your future like, do you know Watchmen?
Mhm.
See your future like Dr. Manhattan.
Oh. Uh,
You see your whole life, like, well, not just your future, but your past as well,
yeah,
because
yeah.
he sees it. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with One Punch Man. I think knowing your future is a curse.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
Like I kind of ascribe to the Back to the Future 3 Doc Brown, like your future is unwritten. Like if you were to jump from this point, it's your future from this specific point, not like definitively what your future is, because you could always change.
hmm
Um, so no, like constantly seeing what could be, but never like kind of taking this, or maybe you would take the steps to get there, but I still I feel like I would be impossibly depressed.
What
Or
if it,
what if what would it right? What if it's good? No, you're right.
yeah,
Like yeah,
yeah.
but then I would know. Then I wouldn't have anything to like look forward to or be surprised by.
But
Um,
the thing with Dr. Manhattan, though, is like he gets to kind of experience, like he gets to throw his consciousness
yeah,
around to all those points in time. So you could go
yeah,
back to this episode right here and then jump to like 50 years from now to
right,
where,
right, right.
I don't know, you're accepting like a Grammy or something and being like, I remember this person asked me a question and I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
you're
Like
right. I can't. It feels like um, it feels like meddling with being a god, and I don't
it's
like it.
very he's considered nigh omnipotent. Like
Right.
so he sees everything just in his own little wheel, which is still crazy. So yeah.
Yeah, I would rather be the strongest being in the universe strength wise
hmm
and be able to use that for myself and for others and for good, and still have the ability to be surprised. I think surprise
hmm
is a beautiful thing. I think
hmm
being in an unexpected situation, even if it's stressful, the wave that comes from that in your life reverberates.
hmm
And I like that feeling. Even when it like maybe gives me like a panic attack, like
hmm
I life would be boring.
hmm
Um, and it definitely wouldn't be boring if I was literally the most powerful person in the universe strength wise. And if a
Well,
meteor and if a meteor
I,
came to the
I
planet,
I gotta be nerdy about this because I love your answer because this is like you're canceling out surprise or you're canceling out challenge. Because Punch Man, his whole issue, Saitama, is that he has no challenge at all. It's
yeah,
gone. Yeah,
that's true.
like he's bored out of his mind. Granted, I think you have more purpose than Saitama. You have something you love to do, but
Right.
still, like there's no challenge anymore. For physically at least, it's
Right.
gone. No one can shoot you. It doesn't really matter. You can't beat, can't lose.
Hmm.
If Dr. Manhattan, he can still be surprised sometimes. He was surprised in the comics where he's like, I'm gonna go back to Earth. I don't know why. You're gonna come talk to
Mm,
me, and I see myself on
that's
Earth.
true.
There was a moment where he was like, and then he realized, oh yeah, you're here, and you were chosen out of like all your when your mother gave birth to you, out of all these other potentials, and this reality we're living is special. You're like, this
Hmm.
is a one in a millionth of a millionth chance. Like he still got technically surprised by what happened. And someone was even able to trick him in the movie by he walked into
True.
something and it happened to him and he knew he was going to
Yeah.
be there. But there are special occasions where he's shocked, where he's shocked.
Well, walk down this road with me because I think I got an interesting observation.
Sure,
Um, Dr. Manhattan's powers take him away from humanity.
they do.
They,
Yeah.
they 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 bring him further and further and further away from humanity because they can never ever experience what he is experiencing on a second by millisecond basis of just constantly being in the past, present, and future,
Yeah.
and anywhere else his clones are, and all those things, right?
Mhm.
Um, Saitama's powers, while they make him superhuman, his his how they impact him emotionally make him more human. He is so sad because he has no challenge and he works so hard to get there.
Mhm.
I would err more towards being more human, um, and have the ability to create and have human to human relationships. All of Dr. Manhattan's relationships fail
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
he's nigh omnipotent, like straight up.
Yeah.
Did you watch the HBO Watchmen series?
I do. Yeah.
Like he was only spoilers, I guess,
Yeah.
for first season
Yeah.
of HBO Watchmen,
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
Um, he was only able to like live a normal life and love somebody normally when he
Yeah.
basically like lobotomized himself.
Pretty much.
Um,
Yeah.
and just became a normal human being, right? It's like
Yeah.
well, Saitama, yes, he's never gonna have physical challenges. I don't want to be the best martial artist, best superhero in the world.
Mhm.
I would just be like, I could be an Olympic athlete if I wanted to be at that point, I guess, and like dominate, but I probably wouldn't. I would just like never
It's
ask anyone to
cheating.
to help me move.
Freaking
I,
cheater.
like, right? Like, so,
Just blow
um,
everyone out the water.
yeah,
As soon as this
straight up,
guy.
like 2024 Olympics plug, right?
Yeah.
But, um, yeah, I would err on being more human, but I could use that to help the people, myself and the people around me and the world to be better and maintain those human relationships, in a way that I don't think Dr. Manhattan ever could. So yeah, I think I got to sit on that on the Saitama powers.
Dang. I've no rebuttal for that. That's a great observation, honestly. No, that's I didn't really think about that. Yeah, and no, we're good. There's no better place to end it. Thank you so much, listeners, for listening to this episode of 1,000 Crazy Questions. Miguel, I want to hand over the spotlight to you. Is there anything you want to plug or tell the listeners in general?
Sure. You can check out my podcast with my co-host Jay. It's called Play Black. If you type it in somewhere, it's going to be like you meant playback, right? Um, no. It's Play Black. Um, on and anywhere you can find podcasts, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. We just had an interview with a Nigerian author named Toby Ogundiran about his new short fiction book. That was pretty really dope, and we're diving more into interviewing those kinds of authors. So definitely check that out. And you'll soon see a Deadpool and Wolverine instant take probably in the next week. I don't know when this drops, but we will have our take on that up on the YouTube and everything like that. If you want to hear any of my music or anything like that, you can hit up miguellandestoy.com. And yeah, I'm just out here trying to get folks to listen into the podcast so I can make it part of my artistic practice intention. Haha. Um,
Mhm.
and eventually get out of the kind of 9 to 5 life, even though I do, I'm very fortunate in my 9 to 5. I work at Berklee College of Music as an academic advisor. I would like to not do that anymore and work for myself, talking about the stuff I love, music, nerddom, black stuff, and as well as continue to teach music and make music. So if you can support that in any way, just go to MichaelLandestoy.com or follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Play Black Podcast.
Awesome. Yeah, listeners, follow, rate, go. I highly encourage it. And thank you for listening to this episode. Let me know in the comments or when this is on YouTube and Instagram with comments there, because I think that's probably the best place for interaction. And what questions you have, what you think, rate the podcast. It helps out a lot. Share this with your friends. Share this with your enemies. Everyone stay safe. Bye. As always, follow my music producer D800, D-800 at BeatStars or SoundCloud.com.